Commander Zefka watched the blue planet spin slowly on his screen. His long fingers moved across the control panel as he studied the strange signals coming from the third world of this small star system. The signals were weak and messy, nothing like the clean communications his people used. "What do you see, Commander?" asked Science Officer Vexra, her purple skin glowing softly in the dim light of the ship's bridge. Z. Itahaka pointed at the data flowing across his screen. "Radio waves. Very simple ones. These creatures are still using old technology to talk to each other." He shook his head in disbelief. "Look at this. They send pictures through the air, moving pictures of their daily lives." Vexra moved closer to see the screen. Strange images appeared and disappeared. Creatures with only 2 arms and 2 legs walked around on the surface of their world. They had no fur, no scales, just pink or brown skin. Some had hair on top of their heads in different colors. "They look so weak," Vexra said, "and they fight each other. Look at these recordings." The screen showed humans pointing metal tubes at each other. Fire and smoke came from the tubes. Some humans fell down and did not get up again. Other humans rode in metal boxes that moved on round wheels and shot at each other. "Primitive warfare," Zefka said with a laugh. "They use chemical explosions to throw small metal pieces, very crude. Our energy weapons could destroy 1,000 of their warriors in seconds." For 3 days, the Zephyrian ship stayed hidden behind the planet's moon. The crew studied more signals from Earth. They watched something the humans called television. They saw movies about humans fighting monsters and other humans. They listened to music and news reports. "These humans are very violent," reported Vexra after studying hundreds of hours of signals. "They fight wars all the time, but they are not very smart about it. They still use gunpowder weapons. They fly in metal aircraft that burn liquid fuel." Very backward, Zefka nodded as he read her report. The humans had only just learned to leave their planet in small rocket ships. They had a few tiny stations floating in space around their world. Their weapons were simple chemical bombs and metal bullets. They knew nothing about energy shields or plasma cannons. "Send a message to the High Command," Zefka ordered. "Tell them we have found another primitive species. Request permission to begin standard first contact procedures." The answer came back quickly. The High Command was pleased. The Zephyrian Confederation needed new worlds for their growing population. This solar system had several planets that could be made suitable for Zephyrian life. The primitive humans would not be able to stop them. "Bring the fleet," the message said. "Show these creatures the power of a real civilization. Make them understand their place in the galaxy." Within 1 week, 50 Zephyrian warships arrived at Earth. They were beautiful vessels, smooth and white, powered by fusion engines that could push them faster than light itself. Each ship carried weapons that could turn mountains into glass, and shields that could stop any primitive attack. The humans noticed them right away. Their radio signals became very excited. They pointed their simple telescopes at the Zephyrian fleet and took pictures. Some humans seemed afraid. Others seemed curious. A few seemed angry. Commander Zefke was not worried about angry humans. What could they do with their simple weapons against advanced alien technology? The Zephyrian fleet moved into orbit around Earth. Zefka opened a communication channel that would reach every radio and television on the planet. He spoke in the human language called English, which his ship's computer had learned from their broadcasts. "People of Earth," his voice boomed from every speaker on the planet. "I am Commander Zefka of the Zephyrian Confederation. We have come to your world in peace, but we are not equals. You are a primitive species that has barely learned to leave your planet. We are an advanced civilization that controls hundreds of worlds across the galaxy." He paused to let his words sink in before continuing. "Your weapons cannot harm our ships. Your technology is thousands of years behind ours. You have two choices. Surrender your world to us peacefully, and we will let you live as our servants. Or resist us, and we will take your world by force. You have 24 of your hours to decide." Zethka turned off the communication and smiled at his crew. That should be enough time for them to realize they have no choice, but the human surprised him. Instead of immediate surrender, Earth's radio signals became very busy. The different human nations started talking to each other very quickly. Military forces began moving around the planet. Factories that made cars and computers suddenly started making weapons instead. "Look at this," Vexra said, pointing at her screen. "They are not surrendering. They are preparing to fight." Zethka laughed. "Let them prepare. It will make no difference. Their bullets cannot pierce our shields. Their missiles cannot catch our ships. This will be over in a few hours." The humans sent their own message back to the Zephyrian fleet. It was short and simple. A human leader with gray hair and a serious face looked into a camera and said, "This is Earth. We do not surrender. We do not serve. If you want our world, you will have to take it from us." Then the human cut the communication. Zetka stared at the empty screen for a moment. Then he began to laugh again. These primitive creatures actually thought they could fight the mighty Zephyrian Confederation. They would learn very quickly. How wrong they were. "Prepare the attack ships," he ordered. "Let us show these humans what real weapons can do." Commander Zethka watched his attack screen with growing confusion. 20 hours had passed since the humans refused to surrender. He expected panic and chaos on the planet below. Instead, he saw something he did not understand. The humans were moving like parts of a giant machine. Military vehicles rolled across highways in perfect lines. Ships left harbors loaded with supplies. Aircraft filled the skies, flying in formation toward bases around the world. It looked organized. Too organized for primitives. "Sir," said Tactical Officer Arandu, his voice uncertain. "The humans are doing something strange. What do you mean?" Zethka moved to look at Arindo's screen. "Their factories. Look at this." The screen showed satellite images of human cities. Car factories stopped making cars. They are making metal boxes with weapons on them now. Computer factories are making RADIO equipment. Clothing factories are making uniforms. Zethka frowned. "How fast are they doing this?" "Very fast, sir. In less than 1 day, they changed what their entire planet makes. Food companies are making ready-to-eat meals for soldiers. Medicine companies are making bandages and blood supplies. Even their entertainment companies stopped making movies and started making training videos for their military." Science Officer Vexra joined them at the tactical station. "Commander, I have been watching their communications. They are not panicking. They are planning." She brought up more data on her screen. "Look at these messages between their leaders. They call it the Emergency Defense Protocol. Every nation on their planet is working together now. They are sharing weapons, sharing soldiers, sharing information. I have never seen anything like this." Zethka studied the information. The humans had turned their entire world into a military base in less than 1 day. Their leaders were talking to each other constantly. Their people were volunteering to fight by the millions. Young humans lined up at military centers to join their armies. Old humans gave money and supplies to help the war effort. "This is impossible," Zethka said. "Primitive species cannot organize like this. They should be fighting each other, not working together." "Sir," interrupted Communications Officer Dovi, "we are receiving a transmission from the planet's surface." "Put it on the main screen," Zethka ordered. A human appeared on the screen. He wore a military uniform covered with metal decorations. His hair was gray and his face looked hard, like old metal. Behind him stood other humans in similar uniforms. "I am General Marcus Chun, Supreme Allied Commander of Earth Defense Forces," the human said. His voice was calm and steady. "You gave US 24 hours to surrender. We use that time to prepare for war instead. The general looked directly into the camera. You think we are primitive because our weapons are simple. You think we are weak because we fight among ourselves. You are wrong about both things. He gestured to the humans behind him. These officers represent every major military force on Earth. We have been studying war for thousands of years. We know how to fight enemies with better weapons than ours. We know how to win battles when we are outnumbered. We know how to turn our entire planet into a fortress. General Chun stepped closer to the camera. You want to know how primitive we are? Our ancestors fought with sticks and stones, then bronze. Swords, then iron spears, then gunpowder cannons, then chemical explosives, then nuclear weapons. Each time, we learned to defeat enemies who had better equipment than us. We always find a way. The transmission showed images of human military preparations. Soldiers digging tunnels under cities. Engineers building hidden weapon platforms. Scientists working on new devices in secret laboratories. You have energy shields? The general continued. We are building weapons that do not use energy. You have fast ships? We are preparing traps that do not need to be fast. You have advanced computers? We are making simple plans that do not need computers to work. More images appeared. Human submarines hiding under ice. Missiles buried in mountains. Soldiers training in forests and deserts and cities. But most importantly, General Chun said, you do not understand what you are fighting. You are not fighting our weapons or our technology. You are fighting us. Every human on this planet. 4 billion people who would rather die fighting than live as slaves. The screen showed crowds of humans in city squares. They were not running away or hiding. They were listening to speeches by their leaders. They were singing songs. They were saying goodbye to their families before going to fight. We do not have your advanced technology, the general admitted. But we have something you do not have. We have been fighting wars since before we learned to speak. Every human culture has warrior traditions. Every human child grows up hearing stories about heroes who fought impossible battles and won. The general's expression grew harder. You think you are fighting a primitive species. You are wrong. You are fighting the most dangerous predator this galaxy has ever produced. We are the species that climb to the top of our world's food chain by being better killers than everything else on our planet. Behind him, other human officers nodded. Their faces showed no fear, only determination. We are giving you one chance, General Chun said. Leave our solar system now, and we will let you go in peace. Stay, and you will learn why every other species on Earth is afraid of humans in the dark. The transmission ended. The bridge of Zethka's ship was silent for a long moment. Finally, Vexra spoke in a quiet voice. Commander, maybe we should study these humans more carefully before we attack. Zethka turned to glare at her. They are trying to scare us with words, primitive threats from primitive creatures. We have weapons that can destroy their entire planet. But even as he said it, Zethka felt something he had never felt before. When facing a primitive species, he felt uncertain. The humans were not acting like other primitives. They were acting like they actually believed they could win. Sir, said Arakandu, their military formations are moving into attack positions. Zethka looked at the tactical display. Human forces were spreading across their planet like a web. Not hiding, not running, but positioning themselves for battle. They want a fight, Zethka said grimly. Then we will give them one. Prepare the first assault wave. The first Zephyrian attack ships descended through Earth's atmosphere like silver teardrops. Their energy shields glowed blue as they cut through the air toward the human city called Geneva. Commander Zethka watched from his command ship high above, confident that this would be a quick victory. Target their military buildings first, he ordered. Show them how useless their defenses are. The lead attack ship fired its plasma cannon at a large concrete building. The green energy beam struck the structure and turned it into glowing dust in seconds. The pilot expected to see humans running in terror. Instead, he saw something else. The building had been empty. As it fell, hidden panels opened all around the city. Metal tubes poked out from windows, rooftops, and underground bunkers. The tubes pointed at the Zephyrian ships. "Sir," the pilot reported, his voice nervous, "the humans were ready for us." Then the humans fired back, the first thing that surprised the Zephyrians was the sound. Their energy weapons made a clean humming noise. Human weapons made a different sound entirely. Loud, sharp cracks that echoed off buildings. The sound of chemical explosions. Thousands of metal projectiles flew toward the alien ships. The Zephyrians were not worried. Their energy shields could stop anything these primitives threw at them. But the human bullets were different than expected. Some were made of dense metal that punched through energy barriers like they were made of paper. Others exploded when they hit the shields, creating clouds of sharp metal pieces that overwhelmed the protective systems. "Shield strength dropping," reported the lead pilot. "These projectiles are penetrating our defenses." Zethka could not believe what he was hearing. Impossible. Primitive kinetic weapons cannot breach Zephyrian shields. But they were. The humans had studied the energy signatures of the alien shields during the day of waiting. Their scientists figured out that the barriers worked well against energy attacks but had trouble with physical objects moving at very high speed. So the humans made special bullets. Some were made of tungsten, the hardest metal they could find. Others were coated with materials that disrupted energy fields. Still others were designed to spin and tumble in ways that confused the shield generators. The first Zephyrian ship started smoking as human bullets tore through its hull. The pilot tried to climb higher, away from the human weapons. That was when the second surprise hit him. The sky above the city suddenly filled with explosions. Not aimed at the alien ships, but timed to go off in a pattern. The humans were firing artillery shells that burst in the air, creating a wall of deadly metal fragments. "They are using their own explosions as weapons," the pilot reported in shock. "They are firing through their own artillery barrage." Zethka watched in disbelief as human soldiers on the ground kept shooting, even as their own shells exploded overhead. Pieces of hot metal rained down around them, but they did not stop fighting. How can they fight in conditions like that? Vexra asked from her station. The answer came from human radio communications that the Zephyrians intercepted. A human commander was talking to his troops over the radio. "Keep firing," the human voice said calmly. "Ignore the incoming. Your job is to kill aliens, not to stay safe." Another human voice answered. "Copy that, sir. We have targets locked." Continuing to engage. The Zephyrians heard explosions and gunfire in the background of the radio transmission, but the human voices stayed calm. They talked about death and destruction like they were discussing the weather. "Squad 3, we need you to advance through that fire zone," the commander ordered. "Roger, sir. Moving now." Through their sensors, the aliens watched as a group of human soldiers ran across open ground while explosions went off around them. When one soldier fell, another picked up his weapon and kept going. When a building collapsed, the humans climbed over the rubble and continued their attack. "Sir," the lead pilot's voice was now full of panic, "I am taking heavy damage. Requesting immediate support." Zethka sent 2 more attack ships to help. But as they approached the city, the humans revealed another surprise. The buildings themselves started shooting. What the aliens had thought were normal city structures were actually hidden fortresses. Windows opened to reveal cannon barrels. Rooftops lifted up to show missile launchers. Even the streets split apart to let weapon platforms rise from underground. "The entire city is a trap," a Rechendu reported. Every building, every street corner, every park has weapons hidden inside it. The three Zephyrian ships found themselves surrounded by thousands of human weapons firing from every direction. Their shields sparked and failed under the constant bombardment. Energy readings showed critical damage across all systems, but the worst part was what the humans did next. A group of human soldiers appeared on a rooftop near one of the damaged alien ships. They carried a large metal tube on their shoulders. Zefka's computers identified it as a primitive rocket launcher. "That weapon cannot harm our ships," Zefka said. "Our armor is too strong." The humans fired their rocket. But instead of trying to destroy the ship, they aimed for something else. The rocket struck the ship's engine exhaust port and exploded inside the propulsion system. "Brilliant," Vexrau whispered. "They are not trying to break through our armor. They are targeting our weak points." The alien ship began to fall. As it descended, more human soldiers appeared on nearby buildings. They all carried the same type of simple weapons. They all aimed for the same vulnerable spots on the ship. "Engine failure," the pilot reported. "I am going down." The ship crashed into a human park. Immediately, human soldiers surrounded it. But they did not try to capture the crew. Instead, they did something that shocked the watching aliens. They placed explosive charges around the crashed ship and blew it up. Then they took pieces of the wreckage and disappeared back into the city. "They are stealing our technology," Zefka realized with growing alarm. Within minutes, human engineers were studying the alien metal and electronics. Their radio traffic showed they were already figuring out how the Zephyrian weapons worked. "Sir," Orechendu said quietly, "we need to retreat. The humans are not fighting like primitives. They are fighting like they have done this before." Zefka stared at the battle display. In less than an hour, the humans had shot down 3 advanced alien ships using simple weapons and clever tactics. They had turned their city into a fortress. They had fought through their own artillery fire without hesitation. And now they were stealing alien technology to use against its makers. For the first time since arriving at Earth, Commander Zefka began to wonder if the Zephyrian Confederation had made a terrible mistake. After the disaster at Geneva, Commander Zefka called for reinforcements. 20 more Zephyrian warships arrived from nearby star systems. The aliens now had 70 ships orbiting Earth, enough firepower to destroy 100 primitive worlds, but Earth was not behaving like other primitive worlds. "Sir," reported Intelligence Officer Nix 2, "the humans are doing things we have never seen before." She brought up images on the main screen. The pictures showed human cities that looked completely different than they had 1 week ago. Buildings were connected by metal bridges. Streets had been dug up and turned into trenches. Parks had become weapon storage areas. "They are turning their entire planet into a fortress," Nixtu continued. But that is not the strange part. The images changed to show human factories. Workers moved quickly between machines that were building new devices, but these were not normal weapons. "Look at this," Nixtu pointed to one factory. "They took the plasma cannon from our crashed ship in Geneva. Now they are building copies of it. But they are using their primitive technology to power it." Zefka stared at the screen. The humans had somehow connected alien energy weapons to their own electrical systems. The result was crude but effective. They had turned their power plants into weapon factories. "How long did this take them?" he asked. 3 days, sir. From the time they captured our technology to the time they started mass production, 3 days. It had taken the Zephyrian Confederation 50 years to develop plasma cannon technology. The humans had reverse-engineered it in 3 days using tools that should not have been able to understand it. "Show me more," Zefka ordered. The next images were even more disturbing. Human submarines had surfaced near the alien ships and were firing modified missiles. But these missiles did not explode when they hit the ships. Instead, They attach themselves to the hulls like parasites. "What are those?" Zethka demanded. "Computer viruses, sir," Nixtu replied. "The humans are using their primitive computers to attack our advanced systems. They connect their devices to our ships and flood our networks with chaotic data." Zethka watched as one of his escort ships suddenly lost power. Its lights went out and it began drifting in space. Then its communication system started broadcasting human music at full volume. "They are turning our own technology against us," he realized. But that was just the beginning. The humans were fighting with everything they had. Their radio stations, BROADCAST messages designed to confuse alien troops. Their internet networks spread false information that made it hard for the Zephyrians to plan attacks. Even their entertainment industry had joined the war. Human movie studios were making films that showed aliens being defeated in terrible ways. They broadcast these movies to the Zephyrian ships. Some young alien soldiers became afraid after watching too many human horror stories about monsters from space. "Sir," Communications Officer Dulvey reported, "we are receiving thousands of transmissions from the planet's surface. They are sending us pictures." "What kind of pictures?" "Human warriors throughout their history, sir. Images of their soldiers. In past wars, they seem to be trying to tell us something." The main screen filled with human faces. Men and women in different uniforms from different time periods. Some carried swords, others held rifles. Some flew in aircraft, others drove tanks. But they all had the same expression in their eyes. The look of creatures who were born to fight. Then the pictures changed to show human battles. Humans charging through machine gun fire. Humans fighting in frozen trenches. Humans storming beaches under heavy artillery. Humans fighting in jungles and deserts and mountains and cities. "They are showing us their war history," Vexra said quietly. "They want us to understand what we are fighting." One image showed human soldiers in a ruined city. They were dirty and wounded, but they were still fighting. The caption underneath read, "Stalingrad, 1942, we do not surrender." Another showed humans landing on a beach while explosions went off around them. The caption said, "Normandy, 1944, we do not retreat." A third image showed humans fighting in thick jungle. "Vietnam, 1968, we do not give up." There were hundreds of images, thousands, each one showing humans fighting against impossible odds. Each one showing them refusing to quit no matter how hopeless things looked. "Sir," Tactical Officer Arichandu interrupted, "we have a bigger problem. The humans are not just defending anymore, they are attacking." The display showed human spacecraft rising from Earth. They were not beautiful ships like the Zephyrian vessels. They looked like metal boxes with engines attached. But they were fast and they carried the new hybrid weapons that combined human and alien technology. "Those ships should not be able to fly," Zethka said. "They look like they were built in a junkyard," they were, sir. "The humans are using parts from destroyed cars, aircraft, and even kitchen appliances. But somehow they made them work." The human ships spread out information around the alien fleet. They did not try to match the Zephyrian ships in elegant maneuvers. Instead, they attacked like a pack of wild animals. Some human ships ran directly into alien vessels, exploding on impact but taking the enemy ship with them. Others fired clouds of metal debris that acted like shotgun blasts in space. Still others released swarms of tiny drones that chewed through alien hulls like metal-eating insects. "They are using suicide attacks," Vexray observed with horror. "No," Zefka corrected, watching the tactical display. "They are using calculated sacrifice. Each human ship that destroys itself takes out something more valuable. They are trading quantity for quality." The most disturbing thing was listening to the human radio chatter during these attacks. The aliens expected to hear screaming and panic. Instead, They heard calm voices making jokes. "This is Eagle One," came a human voice over the radio. "I have a big, ugly alien ship in my sights. Anyone want to bet I can take out their main gun?" "You're on, Eagle One," another human replied. $20 says you miss. Make it 50 and you have a deal." Then Eagle One's ship slammed into the alien vessel's weapon array, destroying both ships in a ball of fire. "Eagle One, come in," called the second human voice. "Damn it, who am I supposed to collect that $50 from now?" Other human voices laughed on the radio. They were making jokes about death. They were betting money on their own destruction. They acted like dying in battle was just another part of their day. "Sir," Arendu said, his voice shaking, "I think we need to consider retreat. These humans are not sane. They fight like they want to die." Zethka studied the battle reports. In 6 hours of fighting, the humans had destroyed 15 Zephyrian ships. The aliens had destroyed 50 human ships. But the humans kept building more ships faster than the aliens could destroy them. And each new human ship was better than the last one. "They are learning from every battle," he realized. "Every ship we destroy teaches them how to build a better one." For the first time since the war began, Commander Zethka wondered if the Zephyrian Confederation could actually lose this fight. The final battle began when the humans did something impossible. They moved their moon. Commander Zethka stared at his sensors in disbelief. "Run those calculations again," he ordered his science officer. "The readings are correct, sir," Vexra replied, her voice barely a whisper. "The humans have attached massive engines to their moon. They are pushing it out of its normal orbit. That is impossible. No primitive species has that kind of power." But the sensors did not lie. The human moon was moving slowly toward the Zephyrian fleet, and it was not empty. The aliens could see weapon platforms built all across its surface. Missile launchers, railguns, and the hybrid plasma cannons the humans had built from captured alien technology. "Sir," Tactical Officer Arechindu reported, "we are also detecting movement from their asteroid belt. The humans have put engines on space rocks and are sending them toward us." Zethka felt something cold in his chest. The humans had turned their entire solar system into a weapon. They were using planets and moons and asteroids as ammunition in the largest battle the galaxy had ever seen. "How many ships do we have left?" he asked. 37 combat-ready vessels, sir. The humans have been building faster than we can destroy them. 37 ships against an entire solar system. The odds were getting worse every day. "Sir," Communications Officer Dulvi interrupted, "we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet." On the screen appeared General Chun, the same human who had warned them weeks ago. But he looked different now. His uniform was torn and dirty. His face had scars from battle, but his eyes still showed no fear. "Commander Zethka," the general said, "I want to talk to you personally, ship to ship, just you and me." Zethka accepted. "The private communication. What do you want, human?" "I want to give you one last chance to leave," General Chun replied. "You came here thinking we were primitive animals. Now you know better. We are the most dangerous species in this galaxy because we never learned how to give up. Your losses have been enormous," Zethka pointed out. "Millions of your people have died." "Yes," the general agreed calmly. "And millions more will die if necessary. That is what you do not understand about humans. We would rather die fighting than live as slaves. Every human on this planet has accepted that they might not survive this war. But we will make sure you do not survive it either." The general leaned closer to his camera. "Do you know what my people call this kind of fight? We call it a war of extinction. One species lives, the other dies. There is no middle ground. You cannot win," Zethka said. But his voice lacked confidence. "We still have superior technology." "No, you do not," General Chun smiled grimly. "Look around you. Half your ships are dead. Your survivors are using our technology to stay alive. We have taken everything you brought to this fight and made it better. It was true. The remaining Zephyrian ships were now armed with human weapons, because they worked better in this kind of battle. Human railguns that fired solid metal rods. Human computer viruses that could shut down alien systems. Human tactics that turned every piece of space debris into a projectile. But most importantly, the general continued, you are fighting us in our home. Every human child grows up hearing stories about heroes who defended their homes against invaders. Every human soldier knows that behind them are their families, their friends, their whole world. You are fighting for conquest. We are fighting for survival. Guess which one makes better warriors? The transmission ended. Immediately, the human moon began firing. Thousands of missiles streaked toward the alien fleet. But these were not normal missiles. The humans had attached nuclear warheads to chunks of moon rock, creating weapons that exploded like small suns. Evasive maneuvers, Zethka ordered, but there was nowhere to run. The humans had surrounded the Zephyrian fleet with weaponized asteroids, space stations, and ships that attacked from every direction. The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. Humans used their space elevators as giant slingshots to launch attack ships. They detonated nuclear weapons inside their own fleet to create electromagnetic pulses that disabled alien electronics. They even crashed space stations into enemy ships with the crews singing their national songs as they died. Sir, Orenzendu called out as explosions lit up the space around them. The humans are broadcasting something on all frequencies. Put it on speaker, Zethka ordered. The sound that filled the bridge was not what he expected. It was music. Human voices singing together in harmony. But the words were about war and death and victory. What is that? Vexra asked. Battle songs. Zethka realized they are singing as they fight. Through the radio chatter, the aliens could hear individual human voices. Pilots calling out targets, gunners confirming hits, engineers reporting damage. But underneath it all was the sound of humans singing about their home, their families, and their refusal to surrender. One by one, the Zephyrian ships fell. Each time a human ship was destroyed, two more appeared to take its place. The humans had turned their entire solar system into a factory for building warships. Sir, Rechendu said quietly, we have lost more than half our remaining fleet. If we stay here, we will all die. Zethka looked at his tactical display. 12 Zephyrian ships were left. Around them, hundreds of human vessels continued their relentless attack, and more were coming. The humans were launching new ships from Earth, from Mars, from the asteroid belt, from everywhere. Send a message to all ships, Zethka ordered. Full retreat. Leave the system immediately. Sir? Vexra asked in surprise. We cannot win this fight, Zethka admitted. The humans are right. This is a war of extinction. And if we stay, we will be the ones who go extinct. As the surviving Zephyrian ships fled toward deep space, Zethka sent one final transmission, not to the humans, but to the Galactic Council. This is Commander Zethka of the Zephyrian Confederation, he broadcast. I am sending an emergency warning to all civilized species in the galaxy. We have encountered a hostile race in the Sol system. They call themselves humans. He paused, watching Earth grow smaller on his screen. These humans appear primitive, but they are the most dangerous warriors we have ever faced. They fight with technology, but also with their minds, their culture, and their souls. They turn everything into a weapon. They never surrender. They would rather die than serve. The last image on his screen was the human moon, still glowing with weapon fire. As it returned to its proper orbit. Mark the Sol system as Forbidden's territory, Zethka concluded. Do not attempt contact with the humans. Do not enter their space. They are not a primitive species. They are apex predators. And Earth is their hunting ground. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, other alien civilizations received the warning. The humans had won their freedom through superior tactics, unbreakable will, and the simple refusal to give up. Earth was safe. And the galaxy had learned a new truth. Sometimes, the most dangerous enemy is the one who looks the weakest.